Hi students, this is Botany PSR. Today we will discuss one of the most important subtopic in the living world is diversity in the living world. Subtopic name is diversity in the living world. Right, what does it mean diversity? Diversity means different. Different organisms are present on the earth. How many types of species are present on the earth? And what are the aspects come under taxonomy? Those are all aspects we will study today, right? Diversity in the living world. Diversity means difference. The number of species that are known and described ranges between 1.7 to 1.8 million species are present on the earth. So that is number of species are present on the earth. That will be called as biodiversity. Bio means life. Diversity means difference. So that is different types of organisms are present on earth. That is so called biodiversity. How many number of species are present on the earth means 1.7 to 1.8 million species are present. Next, what are the basic components in taxonomy? Basic components in taxonomy means characterization, identification, nomenclature and classification. How many components? 4 components are there. We have to say in the correct sequence. In our NCERT, those are not in the correct sequence, right? Study of identification, nomenclature and classification is called taxonomy, also called systematics. Study of identification, nomenclature and classification is called taxonomy. Other name for taxonomy is systematics. Basic components in taxonomy means characterization, identification, nomenclature and classification. We have to say all those 4 basic components in the correct sequence only. You have to tell in the correct order, right? One by one. What is characterization? Characterization means that is based on observable characters. Based on characters is called characterization. Next, what is identification? First of all, when we go to some place means then we will identify one plant. Whether it is already known or unknown, that will be told. So that means whether the plant is already known or unknown, it can be determined by that is BSI, which is located at Kolkata. So that is whether the plant is already known or unknown can be determined, that is so called identification. To determine whether a collected organism is entirely new or already known. Entirely new or already known is called identification. To determine whether the collected organism is already new, entirely new or already known or entirely new, that is so called identification of the organism. It may be the plant or animal. Next, identification of plants can be done directly with the help of authentic herbarium. That means herbarium, number of plants are there. So that means directly with the help of authentic herbarium or indirectly with the help of keys in floras. Directly with the help of authentic herbarium, that is herbarium, indirectly with the help of keys in floras. So that is identification of plants can be done indirectly with the help of keys in floras, directly with the help of authentic herbarium or simply herbarium. Next, identification of plants can be done by which organization means BSI. BSI means Botanical Survey of India, which is located at Kolkata. Identification of plants can be done by Botanical BSI. BSI means Botanical Survey of India, located at Kolkata. So that is about identification. After identification, what we have to do? We have to give the name of that plant. So look at here, nomenclature. Third step is, third component in taxonomy is nomenclature. That is, naming of organisms is called nomenclature. Naming of organism, whether it may be the plant or animal. So naming of plants can be done by ICBN. ICBN, naming of plants, that is, for plants, name should be given by, name of the plants should be given by ICBN. Name of the animal should be given by ICZN. So that is, scientific name should be given by both ICBN and ICZN. ICBN full form is International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. ICZN means International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. For naming of animals means ICZN is needed. For naming of plants means ICBN is used. Don't say ICNB. ICNB means International Code of Nomenclature of Bacteria. NB is different from BN. BN means Botanical Nomenclature. NB means Nomenclature of Bacteria. Both are different. Right. Nomenclature is providing a scientific name to an identified organism. So, which one provides a scientific name to an identified organism means nomenclature. So, which one provides a scientific name or biological name to the identified organism means nomenclature is providing. Next, nomenclature is only possible. When does this nomenclature is possible? Because when does means when the organism is described correctly and accurately identified. So, nomenclature is only possible when the organism is very important. Nomenclature is only possible when the organism is described correctly and accurately identified. Identification should be accurate and correct description should be there. Then only nomenclature is possible. Nomenclature is only possible when the organism is described correctly and identified accurately. Right. Next, binomial nomenclature. Bi means how many? Two. So, if the organism having two components as scientific names, that is so called binomial. Three components, trinomial. More than three means polynomial. So, in botany, no trinomials, no polynomials. Very few plants are trinomials. That is, variety should be there. First component is called generic name. Second component is called species name. If third component is also present in some plants, that would be called as variety. So, very few plants have trinomial nomenclature. Polynomials is not used in botany. Okay. Binomial nomenclature. Nomenclature means that is naming of the organism. Binomial means that naming should be done in two components. Binomial, that is, organism having the scientific name should possess two components, that is so called binomial nomenclature. That is, organism, either the plant or animal, having two components or two words is called binomial nomenclature. This binomial nomenclature first proposed by Gaspard Bahin. First proposed by, first introduced by Gaspard Bahin. First proposed or first introduced by, first proposed or introduced by Gaspard Bahin. And next, first popularized by, first refined and standardized by, first given by means Linnaeus. Linnaeus means in his book Species Plantarum and In his book Species Plantarum. Right. So that is, this binomial nomenclature was popularized by means Linnaeus, refined and standardized by means Linnaeus, first given by means Linnaeus. How it was popularized means Linnaeus wrote a book called Species Plantarum. That book was read by remaining all other scientists. Then they noted that the plant should possess two scientific names, which is so called biological nomenclature. So that is binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature was first proposed by, introduced by means Gaspard Bahin, first popularized by, first refined and standardized by, first given by means Linnaeus in his book called, that is Species Plantarum. Very, very important point. So the organism having two components, organism having two components, two words is called binomial nomenclature. Those two components should be in Latin language. Those scientific names should be in Latin language. Biological name should be, the scientific name should be in Latin language. Don't say Greek language. Okay, did you understand? How it was popularized means, that is Linnaeus wrote a book called Species Plantarum. That book was read by remaining all other scientists, and thereafter it was popularized, that binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature was popularized by Carolus von Linnaeus. Binomial nomenclature was first introduced by, proposed by means Gaspard Bahin. Okay. Next, in the coding, one example, mango, scientific name is Mangifera indica. Mangifera indica. Mangifera indica. Here this is one component, this is another component. So this component starts with capital letter, this component starts with small letter, and the first word is called genus name, also called generic name. The second component is called species name, also called specific epithet. So the first component is called genus name, and here the second component is called species name, also called specific epithet. It always starts with, genus name always starts with capital letter, species name always starts with small letter. It belongs to noun, genus belongs to noun, and species belongs to adjective. So what is the generic name means? The first component is called generic name, the second component is called species name. Generic name always starts with capital letter, species name always starts with small letter. Generic name belongs to noun, species name always starts with species name belongs to adjective. So if they give like this means, is it correct or wrong? Mangifera indica means it is wrong. Why? Because genus name starts with capital letter. Okay. Indica means I should be small letter. That's why it is wrong. And Mangifera indica, is it right or wrong? Generic name starts with capital letter. Here it starts with small letter. So it is. Species name starts with a small letter. Okay, it is correct. But here Mangifera means M should be capital letter. So here I have written small letter. That's why it is wrong. So these two are wrong. Okay, right. What are the rules of ICBN? ICBN full form is International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. ICBN, C stands for committee, wrong. C stands for code. I stands for Indian, wrong. I stands for international. International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. It has some rules. What are those rules? Biological names are generally in which language? Latin language, and they are written in italics. Italics means something small size and should be in slanting position. So, biological names or scientific names are generally in which language? Latin language, and they should be written in italics. Biological names are generally in Greek language. False. Next, first word is called genus name or generic name, and the second word is called species name, also called specific epithet. Second word is called species name or specific epithet. First component is called genus name, also called generic epithet. Both the words in a biological name, when handwritten, they should be separately underlined. This is one underline, this is another underline. So that is, when they are handwritten, they should be separately underlined. When they are printed, they should be in italics. So, when handwritten or separately underlined or printed in italics. Why should be italics means how can we identify? Because to indicate their Latin language. That means if the words are in italics means these are derived from Latin origin, Latin language. So, if the words are printed in italics means those words are derived from Latin language. So, that means both the words in a biological name or scientific name, when they are handwritten means separately underline or combinedly underline. Separately underline, don't say combinedly underline. When they are printed, those should be in italics. Why? Because to indicate their Latin language, to indicate their Latin origin. Next, genus, that is so called first component, always starts with capital letter, while specific epithet, which is called second component, always starts with small letter. If you observe here means Lin means Linnaeus. So that is scientific name, that is author's name or scientist name should be abbreviated after the species, after the specific epithet. So author's name is after specific epithet. Don't say before, after specific epithet. Author's name should be abbreviated after generic name. False. After specific epithet. True. So that is, author's name should be noted after specific epithet. Next one, tautonymy is not applied for plants. Tautonymy is not applicable for plants. What is tautonymy? Both generic name and species name are exactly same. Both genus name and species name are exactly same. That is so called tautonymy. Both generic name and species name are exactly same. That is so called tautonymy. Example, Malus, Malus. Generic name Malus, species name Malus. Is it applicable in plants? No. Tautonymy is not applied in plants. But this tautonymy is applied in animals. Yes, correct. Why? Because cobra, Naja, Naja. Cobra means Naja, Naja. Naja generic name, species name is Naja. So, both generic name and species name are exactly same. It is so called tautonymy. Tautonymy is applicable for plants. False. Tautonymy is applicable for animals. True. Naja, Naja is there no cobra scientific name? Like that. Okay. If you look at here means, if you look at here now, fourth component, classification. What does it mean, classification? That is grouping of organisms into their convenient categories based on some easily observable characters. So, that is grouping of organisms is called classification. Grouping of organisms is called classification. That is grouping of organisms into their convenient categories based on some observable characters. Right. Earliest classifications were based on uses of various organisms. Earliest classifications were based on uses of various organisms, because in early days human beings needed to find sources for their basic needs of food, clothing and shelter. Next, every unit of classification is called. There are so many categories in the classification. Each unit, every unit of that is species name, generic name, family, order, class, like that. Every unit in the classification is called category. Every unit of classification is called taxon. Taxon is a singular. Taxon is singular. Plural form is taxon. Taxon is also called category or rank. So every unit of classification is called taxon, category, rank, all the above. Correct answer is all the above. Every unit of classification, each unit of classification is called taxon, category or rank. The study of different kinds of organisms, their diversities and the relationship among them is called systematics. What is systematics? The study of different kinds of organisms, their diversities and relationship among them is called systematics. The word systematics is derived from the Latin word called systema. So from the Latin word systema is there, from that systema, systematics is derived. Which means, what does it mean systema? Which means systematic arrangement of organism. Systematic arrangement of organisms is called systema. Okay, next. So this systematics is derived from a Latin word called systema. Don't say Greek word. Next, the book Systema Naturae written by Linnaeus. So far Linnaeus wrote how many books? 2 books, Species Plantarum and Systema Naturae. Linnaeus wrote 2 books, Species Plantarum, Systema Naturae. Next, systematics take into account evolutionary relationships between organisms. Which take into account evolutionary relationships between organisms means systematics. So systematics take into account evolutionary relationships which are primitive, which are advanced. So which take into account evolutionary relationships between organisms means systematics. Okay, you understood, my dear students? I hope you understood. Please note down all these points. And few points I would recall. Identification of plants can be done by BSI. Naming of plants should be done by ICBN. Naming of animals should be done by ICZN. ICBN, C stands for code, I stands for international. Right, next one. Binomial nomenclature was first proposed by Gaspard Bahin. Binomial nomenclature was popularized by means Linnaeus through his book called Species Plantarum. Overall, the books written by Linnaeus means both Species Plantarum and also Systema Naturae. Systema Naturae. So please note down all these points and we will meet in the next class.